On this day in history, the Battle of Fort Washington, brought to you by the 56+1 podcast short story segment. On November 16, 1776, the American Revolution was only months old, but already the tide seemed to be turning against the Americans. After a disastrous defeat at Long Island, George Washington's forces had retreated across Manhattan. Only one stronghold remained, Fort Washington, perched on the northern tip of the island. It was a fortress of stone and earth overlooking the Hudson River. And for many patriots, it symbolized hope that Manhattan could still be held. Washington himself was torn. Should the fort be abandoned to save lives, or defended to prove the cause was not lost? His generals were divided. Nathaniel Greene argued it could withstand attack. Colonel Robert Magaw, commanding inside the fort, promised he would hold it to the last extremity. And so the decision was made. The Americans would stand and fight. The assault begins. On the morning of November 16th, the British struck. Nearly 8,000 troops, redcoats and Hessian mercenaries, advanced in 4 columns. They were led by General William Howe and the German commander Wilhelm von Knyphausen. Against them stood just 3,000 Americans. Cannon fire thundered across the Hudson. Muskets cracked from the ridges. The defenders fought bravely, but the British numbers were overwhelming. One of the most remarkable moments came when Margaret Corbin, a camp follower, took her husband's place at a cannon after he was killed. She loaded and fired until she herself was wounded, becoming one of the first women recognized for combat service in American history. The collapse and capture. By midday, the fort's defenses crumbled. The British stormed the walls, and Colonel Magaw, seeing no hope, surrendered. Nearly 2,800 Americans were taken prisoner. Muskets, cannon, and supplies all fell into British hands. It was one of the worst defeats of the war. The aftermath and consequences. The fall of Fort Washington was devastating. It marked the loss of the last American stronghold in Manhattan. Washington's army, demoralized and outnumbered, fled across New Jersey. Many feared the revolution itself might collapse. Yet in hindsight, the defeat carried a strange consequence. It forced Washington to abandon New York entirely, regroup, and plan a daring counterstrike. Just weeks later, on Christmas night, he would cross the Delaware River and win a stunning victory at Trenton. In that sense, the disaster at Fort Washington set the stage for one of the Revolution's greatest comebacks. In closing, the Battle of Fort Washington reminds us that even in moments of crushing defeat, resilience can be born. The Revolution survived not because it avoided disaster, but because it endured it. From the ashes of Fort Washington rose the determination that carried America through the long war for independence. Thanks for listening to another 56+1 short story on this day in history. May we never forget.